Lululemon glow-up leggings are made for a fit that feels spring-loaded to hold nothing back. No holding back from anything. Not one damn thing.
The tabs you open here are also here.
Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and in this video we're breaking down
It's the Truman Show!
The movie's now celebrating its 25th anniversary, and a brand new 4K Blu-ray has just released. After picking it up, I just had to break down this film, as there's so many deeper layers to it that I'd not seen before. It's one of those movies that was ahead of its time, and it predicted several things about the next 2 decades. This included the rise of reality TV, and also how much of our privacy started being put out there. All of it was done in the name of entertainment, which people now do freely with social media and YouTube. So yeah, lots of things I want to analyse, along with all the hidden details that I think you might have missed in it. This includes all the hidden cameras, like that one in his wedding ring. Now in flashbacks, we can see his dad wearing this during the voyage, in which he apparently drowned, and Truman taking this also explains why he never takes it off. We'll also be talking about how you can spot the clothes in the show being worn by the viewers, and this is because everything's for sale. It's all to make money, and it's all exploiting a human that a corporation owns. Now, this darker ideology was laced way more through the original script, with the idea being created by Andrew Niccol. Originally titled The Malcolm Show, the first draft was more of a science fiction thriller set in a city akin to New York. Truman was an alcoholic, and his wife was also pregnant, with his child being the one that would carry on the show. There were also staged crimes which Truman refused to intervene in, with the cast and crew often questioning why he didn't help. In the end, he came face to face with Christof and all the actors who'd played his friends and family. Lunging at Christof, he then tried to strangle him, unleashing the rage that the revelation brought. We closed out with him being reunited with Sylvie, but it was a far more downbeat portrayal of how Carey plays it. They also went with several directors as well, and Brian De Palma was initially in negotiations. This fell through though, and then they asked Tim Burton, Sam Raimi, Terry Gilliam, David Cronenberg, Barry Sonnenfeld, and Steven Spielberg before Peter Weir finally signed on. Deciding on a more light-hearted tone, he ended up looking to Jim Carrey, who too was looking to be taken more seriously as a dramatic actor. Though the actor commanded a fee of $20 million at the time, he dropped this down to $12 million to be part of the film. His schedule was also pretty complicated too, with him working on both The Cable Guy and Liar Liar. Weir ended up delaying production for a full year because he felt that Carey was perfect for the role. Niccol also rewrote the script 12 times, and a lot of inspiration was taken from Michael Jackson. Weir said the singer's life had been turned into a show and that they wanted to document what it would be like if that was taken literally. Depicting the life of Truman, they settled on that name because he's the true man in a world full of actors. The surname Burbank was also taken too because the entire show shot in Burbank, California. In fact, if you look at all the names in the film, these actually pull from real-world things. Marlon's named after Marlon Brando, and his off-screen wife's called Rita after Rita Hayworth. Truman's wife Meryl's named after Meryl Streep, and his upcoming love interest's called Vivian Lee. Truman's dad's called Kirk after Kirk Douglas, and his mum's named Angela after Angela Lansbury. Sylvia's show name is Lauren Garland, with a surname of course being a reference to Judy. Now, these being actors is, well, because they're all actors, and the locations in the town also carry this too. Barrymore Street's named after Drew Barrymore, and Wells Park is a nod to Orson Welles. James Stewart Street, well, you know with that, with Lancaster Square being Burt Lancaster. Now, that takes us into the film itself, and the movie opens with Christof talking about Truman's appeal and why the world's become fascinated with him. He says that people became bored with actors and special effects, and that they craved something real that was actually authentic. Inadvertently predicting reality TV, we'd see as this became something that was a phenomenon in the noughties. Even today, the shows are still popular, but it's fair to say the audience has become way more sophisticated. Deep down, we know that it's manufactured too, which this movie also somewhat predicted. Interestingly, Dennis Hopper was originally in the role of Christof, but he walked off after the first day. Jack Nicholson was then offered the part, but he turned it down due to being friends with Hopper. They also offered it to Jonathan Pryce, who you might remember played a similar role in Tomorrow Never Dies. Now, he was on holiday at the time, so he couldn't get the script because this was back before things were done through email. In the end, they settled on Ed Harris, who's actually only 12 years older than Carey is. Realizing a 12-year-old couldn't be a television executive that adopted a newborn baby, the makeup department had a challenge on their hands. However, they made Truman look younger and Christoph look older by having things like wire-rimmed glasses and dark muted clothing. In the end, I really think it works, and you totally believe that Harris is old enough to be like this. The cast names come in, and I love the way this plays out, giving us the idea that these are real people. We see interviews, talking heads, and the title card popping up, while Truman nonchalantly talks into a mirror. Now this itself contains some symbolism later on, as he gets a bar of soap and ends up drawing an astronaut in it. Astronauts, of course, leave their world behind and travel into new ones like Truman at the end. The mirror's edge, that also creates a box around him, and he's finally heading out into this different life. Now after this, we see as he goes into the street where he greets the neighbors and drops this line.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
I kind of feel like this was told to him by someone else, and he's just repeating it as part of his catchphrase. Now why this is, and it's a theory time, is because the show broadcasts 24/7, so it would need a universal greeting due to all the different time zones. Some people watching this would be seeing it at night, but this covers all the bases and means that it works for everyone. Now from here he goes out to his neighbour, whose bin we can see has a camera on it. Later on when he pops up to check Truman in the car, we can see as he positions this to get a better angle. Now from this point a skylight comes crashing down, and we see as Truman goes to check it. On the posts we can also see cameras there too, pointing in every direction, so there's always constant coverage. Now this light has a really cool detail on it, and we can see that the sticker has the word Sirius. Sirius is actually the name of a star, and this was likely one of the ones used to light up the dome's sky. Now the cover up on this is instantly brought up with us getting this message over the car radio.
Just then, an aircraft in trouble began shedding parts as it flew over Sea Haven just a few moments ago.
This is them just doing things to try and explain what happens, so he stays stuck in this fake reality forever. Keeping Truman stuck in the dome is of course central to the show's success, and throughout the movie they try several things to make him scared to leave. I kind of feel this message of a plane might make him scared to get in one, and therefore he never feels like he wants to leave the island. Truman also works in insurance, and thus he's someone who has to constantly sell something that talks about danger. I'm guessing this would cause him to be way more fearful in life, as he spends his day talking about ways people can die. Either way, the radio itself seems to answer him back, showing that there's this constant spotlight on him. We hear this.
Fly with classical drive, so why don't you forget about the perils of flying? Settle back and let this music calm you down.
Remember, Kroger is always helping you save more. Every time you shop, you'll earn points. You can use your points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. And now, you can choose to use your points to save on groceries. You choose how to redeem your points. Save on fuel or save on groceries. No matter which you choose, your savings add up when you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
I start nursing school in September, and before I sent off my application, I ran it through Grammarly. I graduated with my bachelor's and master's degree before AI really took off, so I'm really excited to use this because it has a plagiarism check, and if you've been through college, then you know how a pain it can be. It literally fixed all of my mistakes that I had in my resume, and I'm really glad it did that because nursing school is no joke.
And you might notice that most of the songs in the movie are classical pieces. This is because they're all public domain, and therefore the show wouldn't have to pay for any of their usage. Now there is one song we'll talk about later on that isn't, but even this has been altered in a certain way. Now from here we cut to a newsstand where we see Harold buying a paper. Now this character actually gets a nod later in the movie when we cut to a collage at Sylvia's. We can see that she's reached out for help from other cast members, including this news vendor who sadly didn't go through with it. Now at this point, Truman rushes through the streets, which is where he's stopped by the twins who constantly appear throughout the film. These used to stall him in front of the Kaiser Chicken advert and help to add some product placement to his morning stroll. As we learn, the show airs without commercial interruptions, so they have to integrate the products into every single scene. In the wide shot, we can also see a camera at the top as well, and a little drain underneath the wall. Now I don't know you mate, but if you know about construction, then you'll know you don't put a wall up over a drain like this. This would be completely cut off from the way the pipes are, and having a half drain here shows the building probably isn't real. Instead, I think they just stuck up a wall like this so it'll look like a real place, when in reality it's probably a fake building. And the twins here were actually on-set security guards who we're watched getting along with the cast and crew. In the end, he decided to give them a part, and I love how they kind of bring a sort of surreal feeling to the movie. I've got twins myself, but you know what I mean. Just seeing them looking exactly alike adds a feeling of it being almost like they're clones or something. I know they're not clones, but you get what I'm saying. Now at his office, we see Truman desperately trying to find Sylvia, and he even cuts eyes out of women's magazine to try and make a collage of her.
I see you like cutting the eyes out of photos of women. My son is a big fan of that too.
We also see as his boss tests him to see if he's willing to go off island, and turning this down reassures them that he's not trying to leave. However, his heart longs for the sea, which we actually see right next to his desk nameplate. To the left we have a boat, and to the right is a lighthouse, which foreshadows the journey that he makes at the end. Going out to the ferry, even the dialogue here is used as a way to play upon his fears of the sea.
One way or return?
Return.
We also see as the camera rotates that the blinds open up, showing that they're controlled electronically by its movement. Littering the dock with a sunken boat, this causes crippling fear in him that keeps him stuck on the island. It's such a smart way to keep him locked in, and it's something he has to overcome in order to escape. From here we cut to his wife Meryl arriving home from work, which is when she drops an advert, which I think is hilarious.
Look what I got free at the checkout. It's a Chef's Pal. It's a dicer, grater, peeler all in one. Never need sharpening, dishwasher safe.
Wow. That's amazing.
Now we can see Truman also digging in the garden, using a trowel to move about the dirt. Later on when he digs out the basement, we can see this tool in the hole, carrying across from this exact moment. I do kind of wonder if he was planning this all along and slowly digging his way out of it, you know, Shawshank style. Something about his life is just so manufactured, and you do wonder if he'd start to suspect just by how fake it is. Now, there's actually a medical condition which is known as Truman Syndrome, in which people believe that there's a show built around their life. I'm sure all of us, at some point we've suspected it too, and I think that's why this film just feels so relatable. Just something about it kind of hits home with everyone, and it's obviously steeped in paranoia and feeling like the world is fake. Let me know below if you've experienced it too, and I have to admit I have felt that way as well. Then I realised that for about 8 hours a day, I sit in a room making YouTube videos, so I don't know how interesting that would be to watch. Anyway, from here we cut across to Marlon, who's about to drop the best ad that you've ever seen.
That is a beer.
Later on when he goes looking for Truman, he also leads with these cans in shots so that we get the focus solely on them. Throughout the movie, we often cut to the Truman Bar, which also happens to sell this exact beer. Everything is leading that, and like them, we've got some bills to pay too. However, they're good ones, mate, and if you like these classic movie breakdowns, then I've actually got a deal that I think you're gonna love. Us and Arrow Films, we've started up a partnership where viewers of this channel get 10% off. Whether you want RoboCop 4K, the Hellraiser collection in 4K, the Chucky ones, or whatever you want, just use my link and pin comment for 10% off. If you forget, then just use the code HEAVYSpoilers at checkout, and that's a fine deal. Anyway, Truman talks about leaving his job and getting off the island, and Marlon's used as a way to show how good his life is. The movie kinda asks the question if